Office First, Immigration Department, and the National Center for Arts and Culture are the latest state institutions to benefit from the traditional donation of automobiles at the primary. The vehicles are normally driven by adventurers from Europe to the Gambia via the Sahara Desert. Moduchal has more on that.
Representatives from the police, immigration, and the National Center for Arts and Culture this morning gathered at a local safari lodge to receive the keys to these 3 vehicles donated by the Plymouth Banjul Challenge. The vehicles were donated by tourists for auction to fund development projects in the country. The director of the Plymouth Banjul Challenge, George Gomez, said his organization has been consistent in its support to institutions that promote tourism in the Gambia. The police, immigration, and the NCAC, he said, are important stakeholders in the tourism industry that should be strengthened to enhance their mobility and service delivery.
And today, we have the greatest pleasure to donate cars to the Immigration Department and also to the police and also to the National National Center for Arts and Culture. Now that's a very important office because the Gambia takes pride on culture, and we know that they're doing a very good job, and this is why we thought that we should enhance what they're trying to do.
Speaking on behalf of the recipients, Hazum Sise of the NCAC expressed his gratitude to the challenge.
I wish to thank the challenge for this wonderful gift to government departments, the immigration, the police, and the National Center for Arts and Culture. I should express particular thanks to Mr. Gomez for his profound interest in the development of tourism and culture in the Gambia.
After the usual formalities, the beneficiaries were shown their vehicles, which it is hoped will enable them overcome mobility problems at their various institutions. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS.
An activist group dubbed United Guardian Youth for Development recently held a forum to, among other things, help build a critical mass of the young people who were conversant with their civic duties. Babakar Kamara reports the interface looked at means of helping teenagers ensure a swift transition to adulthood.
Go through a long process of training on issues of guardian and counseling itself, and introduction to law. You have to do some law, because you must understand the law of your country, the law of your community, the international laws, that what they are trying to say, and so that at least if you're doing something, you make sure that you will not be in conflict with the law. These are all things that we try to train people, and you also have peace and conflict resolution. How do you negotiate for peace issues?
It is a new advocacy youth movement born out to master the principles and crafts of responsible citizenship before taking the bold challenge of being literal advocates of national development.
United Guardians for Development, our rule is to be there as a guardian and counseling association that will train young people in all parts of the country to ensure that at least there will be people who will be counseling our colleagues there.
The new organization, founded in 2008, has the worrying concern of youths being engaged in violence, drug and alcohol abuse, and have vowed to be a new responsible peer advocates through a pattern of vigorous capacity building exercises.
Solution-focused therapy was developed by somebody called Steve from 1982 to 1994, and also Kim Berry in 1991, who developed a solution-focused model. And their thesis is that the standard of problem does not belong to the standard of solution.
According to development experts, the new paradigm of propagating responsible transition to adulthood is underpinned by factors seeking to transform the old concept regarding young people as mere social welfareists rather than positive agents for change and development.
So organization is something that we should promote, but again it's important we model. What type of young people do we want in this country? Do we only want young people who go to school and come out with good grades and they just live life, or do we want young people who are model both culturally, socially, morally, and then enhance their capacities to become productive, so that wherever you see a Gambian, you see a model, be it an adult or a young person. So at policy level and at program level, we need to design a transition program that will lead these young people, when they finish whatever they're doing, they need to transit smoothly into adulthood, and responsible adulthood for that matter.
United Guardian Youth for Development currently have 236 prospective members, with only 5 being its guardian ambassadors due to the vigorous scrutiny they have to be exposed to. Babukar Kamara, GRTS.
Well, you can also follow that story and other GRTS programs live on our website, which is at www.grts.gm. There you can also monitor GRTS Radio Live. We will go with a very short break now. Stay tuned.
mooy cancel defati nañ ko kër la ñuy joxe kër la ñuy joxe maas kër la ma la ñuy joxe boo xam ne dañuy gas defar ko tabax ko ba pare ñu jël ko jël caabi ñu jox ko ni ki nga xam ne boo ko biir moom la ñuy joxe waaye kër la ñuy joxe bi nekk juróom benn weer jëlee leen xam ne talas rek nga xoos ba pare moom dugal ci sa biir mobile wàcc ba pare wiit ci kër billaahi wallaahi sallaahi kër lañ cee wut neex na bugg a dee waaye maas fii ba juróom benn weer yi jot balaa ñëw wit kër bi billaahi ma ne dañuy wax 2 weeks bu nekk dina am ñoo xam ne dinañu win bedroom set boo xam ne dafa ànd ak dressing table ba cupboard ba lal bi ak side table ba yëpp wala ñu win nag ma ne toogu yoo xam ne yi toogu yu baax yu óor yu dëgër pour saal bi moom la ñoo win billaahi Gamcel defati na ko Gamcel defati na ko Gamcel nee na rek billaahi Gamcel defati na ko kër la ñuy joxe $100 rek nga xoos dugal ci sa biir mobile nga si ko soxla ba pare win ci kër tey waay Gamcel defati na ko waay Gamcel defati na ko waay ma ne kër la ñuy joxe kër ak ay bedroom set ak ay sofa yoo xam ne yi kenn mënu la ko wax ci taaru ci rafet tey Gamcel.
World news from outside the Gambia now. There has been a potentially critical advance in breast cancer research. Scientists in the United Kingdom, France and the Netherlands say they have mapped the genetic code of the most common type of hereditary breast cancer. Dr. Rachel Natrajan of the Breakthrough Breast Cancer Research Center spoke to CNN's Jonathan Mann about the significance of the stat breakthrough.
Yeah, we've looked at hereditary breast cancer, and we're really excited about the results of our research. So what we found is that by sequencing at a deep level hereditary breast cancer, we found that these tumours are incredibly complex. So hereditary breast cancer is caused by defaults in the BRCA1 gene, and women with this faulty BRCA1 gene have a much more higher incidence of developing breast cancer throughout their whole lifetime. And what we also know about this disease, that it is quite aggressive and tends to affect younger women. So what we've done is to take 2 patients with hereditary breast cancer, with this faulty breast cancer gene, and unravelled for the first time the complete genetic map of these 2 tumours.
Well, let me jump in on that thought. Why is the genetic profile of a cancer so important? I mean, isn't every cancer, whatever its genetic makeup, an enemy?
Well, this is the first time that we've been able to map at a very high resolution the complete genetic code of this type of hereditary breast cancer. And what's interesting is these breast cancers are initially caused by the faulty BRCA1 gene, but what we found is that they're completely different in every other respect to each other. So what we now know is that they're much more complex than we originally thought, and that we now know that we need to look at these patients' tumours in much more detail to be able to understand them.
Can you make them better? Is this going to affect treatment?
We hope that this eventually will affect treatment, yes. I mean, what we can do is now try and tailor the treatment for the patients to the individual by looking at the detailed genetic defects that these tumours have. So what we're trying to do is ultimately personalise treatment for patients with hereditary breast cancer.
Now, women already undergo genetic testing in some cases, women whose family have hereditary chains of breast cancer. A lot of women know about that already. How different does that become with the additional knowledge that you and your team have gained?
So this doesn't change the screening of